Συνεχίζουμε την επόμενη παρουσίαση, την επόμενη εισήγηση για σήμερα από την κυρία Latinka από το Bulgarian Biodiversity Foundation με θέμα Latinka Mountains on the way to nature conservation and sustainable development.
This is that I know in Greek, so I'll continue in English if you don't mind. I'll present our work in the region, which is quite close to the region of Kirkini Lake. My name is Latinka and I have been working in Bulgarian Biodiversity Foundation for almost 8 years now. And let's say my main work was related to conservation of the Latinka mountain. So I'll share as much as possible. As you could see, it's a long way now that we've made. Since 2003 we have been working for the protection of this mountain, and yet it's just one first step. Maybe there is a big need to tell you where this mountain is, but just that it is one of the mountains, of the two mountains on the Balkans, which is divided into among 3 different countries. So talking about conservation of the natural heritage of a mountain which is divided among 3 countries, it's really a big challenge, and it's also related to international collaboration, close international collaboration, exchange of experience and know-how during on a local, regional and national level, and it cannot be done only once per year. It should be a process. Belasica, as I told you, it's a mountain which, what makes it unique is that it's a relatively high mountain. It's a mountain higher than 2,000 meters, and its situation it's also quite important for its high biodiversity, as it is in fact climatic boundary. So on the southern slopes you'd have Mediterranean climate, whereas on the northern slopes you would have at the lower parts sub-Mediterranean and then mountain and continent climate. So this makes it really important for all kind of types of animals and communities. So you could find there species which are closely related to mild climate, as well as such that could survive really harsh climate conditions up in the treeless zone. Its biodiversity and important role for the protection of the biodiversity has been announced in different documents, international and national ones. So for Bulgaria, since 1990s, It has been included in the National Strategy for Biological Conservation as mountain which preserves community well conserved and natural ecosystems in the subalpine zone. So why did we choose to work in this area? We are a national NGO which was a former intergovernmental international program between Bulgaria and Switzerland for protection of biodiversity. So after this program ended in 2003, it has been conducted for more than 10 years. We became an NGO, and this was one of the areas that we choose to continue working in after we became an NGO, which is the only two localities for Bulgaria. They are found at the foot of the mountain Belasica. It's Smunda Regalis. It's not a part of the nature park, and for its protection, a special protected zone has been made. What is another interesting thing about the forests in Belasica is that there are about 60% of the ferns that occur in Bulgaria. You could find them in Belasica. This is one quite trivial species. Well, the symbol of the mountain is, of course, the sweet chestnut, and one of the relics of the mountain is Taxus baccata, which could be found along the river streams. There are some old growth trees which we have mapped. And another important habitat is the Platanus orientalis forest, again along the streams. And another important and interesting species is the Ilex aquifolium, which is again a relict species. This is a Balkan endemic species which is spread all over the Balkans, and it's not rare, it's a common one on the Balkans, but just that it's endemic one. And another symbol of Belasica, it's Lilium albanicum, which is the only one mountain in Bulgaria where this species is distributed is Belasica. This is one of the species that is with highest importance of conservation. It's Fritillaria gusiche. It's also in the Bulgarian Red List book from the local communities, but also from local institutions. So by order of proclamation, you could see this is the strict reserve with green. This is the buffer zone, so-called at the moment protected area Babite. And by the order of proclamation, those zones with violet, they are zones where all logging cuts are prohibited. So this is the zoning for the moment, but the most important document for management of protected area in Bulgaria is its management plan. and it's 10 years document, which is now under preparation for Belasica Nature Park. So since 2008, there are a special management body was assigned, which is Belasica Nature Park Directorate. There are only 4 people working there, but so far they have implemented and they have been working on implementation of 3 different and big projects for nature protection and sustainable development, and they have a lot of external services and experts working with them. So as we talk conservation value of Belasica and the region, we of course cannot divide what is in Bulgaria or Greece or Fyrom. We have to look at the region as a whole, and so far we have a legal steps on protecting the mountain on both sides in Bulgaria and in Greece. And in Fyrom, valorization study has been implemented 2 years ago with recommendations for establishing a national park there. So let's hope that in some years it could be a precondition to have a real legal protection of the whole territory, of the whole mountain. And why not have it as a really model case to show EU that on the Balkans we could do things as not as bad as they can. You could see Natura 2000 network here also with some parts in Greece. Just for a general view of the network. So as talking about sustainable development, we could say that since the establishment of the park, there has been a number of projects has been implemented, mostly related to sustainable development, mainly to ecotourism development, and some of them related to energy efficiency and environmental education. What has been done is really just the first step. And the most important thing regarding nature conservation is being prepared at the moment. It will be this management plan, which should be done by end of this year. It will be prepared under a project of the Directorate under program of operational program environment, and there are more than 8 different teams working on starting from abiotic to biotic factors and diversity in the mountain. There will be a small committee with scientists who will prepare a detailed zoning based on assessments on species and